I'm sorry, I'm just a little nervous, you know. I admire your work you did for DC and Static Shock. I mean, right there. Anyway, my question was, when you were working with DC, the animated universe, and Static Shock, like simultaneously playing Jon Stewart and Virgil Hawkins, did you know of anywhere that would be a crossover? Like be a crossover of any kind?
No, because it's funny because when let me make sure I'm getting this right. My memory of it is that we started Static before Justice League, and Static was not considered part of. Well, at that time it was there was the Batman the animated series, and Superman, you know, and they were their own thing. Static was just another show along with Zeta Project, which was a spin-off of Batman Beyond, but he was considered separate. But what happened is Dwayne McDuffie, who created the Static comic book in the Milestone universe, came on as a writer for Justice League and Static. And once both shows were running simultaneously, they said, these are similar. Why don't we cross them over? You know, and they began to cross promote, and for me it was a dream, you know, because I love both characters. It was a little hard at first, like having to play multiple characters. Thank you for the echo, Nick. Should I get you a mic? Echo. But playing multiple characters talking to each other was a challenge, and I was inspired by Billy, actually, because I always remembered the first episode of Futurama. There's a scene where the professor brings Fry in to meet Zoidberg. This is the first episode, the first time I'm working with Billy long term, and I watch him do 3 separate characters all talking to each other. He recorded it on the fly. And when you listen back to it, you cannot tell it's the same human being doing all 3 characters. So, trying to do 2 characters talking to each other, that was the bar that I was trying to reach. It didn't quite get there. It's like, we're gonna have to do another take, aren't we? Take you out, well, why don't we do just one take a second? All right. But I tried.
My favorite episode was from Static Shock was the one where primarily was the Green Lantern went supposedly bad, but it turned out to be Sinestro right there. How was it like doing that particular episode?
That one was interesting because it was at one point 3 characters talking to each other, but one of them in the same voice. Because there was an evil Green Lantern that was Sinestro in disguise, so it was Static, Green Lantern, and evil Green Lantern. Okay, so I only have to do 2 voices, but one of the 2 voices has to be different from itself. So yes, that was a challenge. Although later on Samurai Jack, there was a Jack Mad Jack episode. So yeah, I don't know. I felt a little bit like I was in an episode of Bewitched, only without the line down the middle of the screen. Sabrina, you can't do that. That's an old people reference.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
I got 2 questions real quick. The first one is, how do you get into like your personas, like all the different voices you do?
It depends. For me, I usually if I can start with like whatever the drawing is, you know, like when we auditioned for Justice League, they had sketches of the characters, and I auditioned for Martian Manhunter and Jon Stewart. And for me, looking at Bruce Timm's designs, where they have these like legs and these enormous chests, it just made sense that everyone would have deep voices. I mean, if you had a chest that was 4 times as wide as your waist, your voice would be very deep. It would resonate. So I mean, so looking at the design, And sometimes a voice might be based on an impression or a real person. And so, you know, I'm trying to think of one that's, well, on Billy and Mandy. Oh, right, yeah. Well, Ozzy and Drix was a straight up sound alike. Because, I mean, that's the thing, when you're doing something based on an impression, people's like, I mean, because Ozzy sounds like, oh man, I don't know what's going on here. It's like, yeah, I don't know, I've never, and the reason they thought it didn't sound like Chris Rock is they'd never heard Chris Rock do that. That's because he doesn't do that. Ozzy does. And so eventually, the character took on a life of its own. And on Billy and Mandy, I did a character named Dracula, which was based on Red Fox from Sanford and Son. And I mean, the good thing about that one is it's not really a dead-on sound-alike. I didn't have to like listen to any tapes of Sanford and Son. You big dummin'! I just had to do what I remembered from it. Dracula don't suck. Dracula bite, then he lick. Bite, then lick.
And my second question is, they say that there's gonna be a Samurai Jack movie in like the next year or two. Are you still gonna be Samurai Jack?
I hope so. Well, you know, it's funny. The very first season, they said there was going to be a live-action Samurai Jack movie. And Genndy Tartakovsky had written a treatment for Brett Ratner, who's been attached to the potential destruction of many series in the past. And yes, of course, I think somewhere, which this rarely happens, but somewhere reason prevails in Hollywood, and someone go, you know, it's a cartoon based on Hong Kong karate movies. So if you do a live-action version of a cartoon based on live-action movies, you'd just be doing a Hong Kong action movie, which they're already doing. Why bother? Oh. Yeah, plus there are no Asian actors we could cast for it. All right, never mind. Honestly, I think that's really what happened. Oh, Jet Li's attached? All right, forget it.
What are you allowed to tell us about Popzilla that's coming out?
I guess I'm allowed to tell you that it premieres very soon. Popzilla is a pop culture parody series on MTV. Some of the stuff is really insane. Insane like tasteless, and insane. Like, I think I did a Kanye West where Kanye West lives on a cloud and is searching for magical shoes. I don't know if they're going to be able to air that now because it's so upbeat, Kanye. I think they might get protests like, why are you glorifying that man? Did you see what he did to Taylor Swift? Wow. Personally, I didn't know so many people cared about Taylor Swift. I think really it's just we all hate Kanye and are looking for an excuse. Like if Kanye had like dissed The Rock, people would go, hey, come on, Kanye, he has feelings too. How dare he?